Have you ever been handed, a complex new project at work, or maybe found yourself trying to master a completely new skill and felt just a little overwhelmed?
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of staring up at a mountain of information.
Exactly. And, it's all out there, but how do you quickly get to the core, the
Yeah.
really important stuff? How do you move beyond just, like, scratching the surface to genuinely understanding something inside and out?
Yeah, cutting through the noise, it's a huge challenge.
And we often toss around the word knowledge, don't we?
Yeah.
As if it's this one big single thing.
Right. He has knowledge of X, she has knowledge of Y. Very broad.
We say someone has knowledge of the market or knowledge about a new technology. But what if it's not just one thing? What if there are distinct types of knowledge, each with its own power, its own purpose, maybe even its own shelf life?
Mm-hmm. Different facets, different uses.
And understanding those differences, what if that's actually the game changer?
That's precisely the idea we're exploring today.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into an absolutely fascinating and, I think, profoundly insightful paper from back in 1997. It's by Raghu Garud, titled On the Distinction Between Know-How, Know-Why, and Know-What.
A really foundational text, and despite its age, maybe even more relevant now.
I agree. So our mission here is to unpack these three crucial components of knowledge. We'll explore how they relate to each other, their, intricate interrelationships.
And why getting a grip on these distinctions isn't just some academic exercise.
Exactly. It's a shortcut, really, to being truly well-informed in any field. It's a way to navigate all that information overload we were just talking about.
And maybe most importantly, it's a powerful framework for strategic thinking.
Yeah, whether you're leading a team, launching a product, or honestly just trying to learn something new more effectively. It's all about helping you gain knowledge quickly, but also thoroughly, without feeling swamped.
That's absolutely right. What's really fascinating here, I think, is how Garud's paper fundamentally shifts our perspective on knowledge itself. Well, it moves us away from just thinking about accumulating raw information or isolated facts, just collecting data points.
Okay.
And instead, it encourages us to understand the different facets of knowledge. And this distinction became incredibly vital, especially as we moved into an era where intellectual capital.
Right, the intangible stuff.
Exactly. Skills, expertise, information. It started to clearly outweigh traditional physical assets like factories or machines in determining a firm's value and its competitive edge.
So knowledge became the real currency.
Pretty much. Garud frames knowledge not just as static data, but as a dynamic, multidimensional strategic asset, something individuals and organizations can actively cultivate, manage, and leverage for significant advantage. Often sustained advantage.
So it's not just having knowledge, but understanding its different forms.
Precisely. Recognizing the various forms that understanding takes and how each unique form contributes, distinctly to our capabilities and capacities.
Okay, so let's unpack that foundational idea a bit more. Before we dive into the three specific types Garud identifies, know-how, know-why, and know-what, let's set a baseline.
Good idea.
How is knowledge typically understood, in our daily lives, even in professional settings? And why does this paper argue so strongly for a more nuanced view, a more differentiated perspective?
Well, you touched on it earlier. The term knowledge gets used so broadly, its meaning can get a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, like she knows the market. What does that really mean?
Exactly. Is it intuition, data analysis, years of experience? The paper actually kicks off with a really relatable anecdote about this exact ambiguity.
Yeah.
Garud mentions a conversation with his wife, who's an engineering educator. Their car needed fixing, right?
Classic scenario.
And she kind of dismissed academic, theoretical knowledge in that moment. She argued that the expert mechanic's know-how, that practical, hands-on ability to diagnose and fix the problem, was way more valuable right then than, say, her husband's abstract understanding of engineering principles.
Huh. I can see that happening. The immediate problem needs a practical solution.
Precisely. It powerfully illustrates how, in everyday life, we often prioritize that immediate practical ability. We often implicitly downplay other forms of knowledge.
That makes sense. And if you look it up, like in Webster's dictionary, the definition is pretty broad too, isn't it?
It is. Something like the fact or condition of knowing something with familiarity gained through experience or association.
Right, which covers a lot of ground.
Exactly. It sets up this idea that knowledge isn't monolithic. It has a whole range of meanings, encompassing everything from abstract theory to very specific practical skills.
And in business, know-how is definitely seen as critical intellectual capital, that practical skill.
Absolutely. It's widely recognized. But Garud's core argument is that there are at least two other crucial components beyond just knowing how.
Okay, so know-how is just one piece of the puzzle.
A vital piece, but still just one piece.
It makes you think, doesn't it? In your own field, your own work.
Huh.
How often do you just use the word knowledge without really specifying what kind you mean?
All the time, probably.
And imagine how much richer, maybe more effective our conversations or our problem solving could be if we were more explicit about that distinction. It's not just semantics, is it?
Not at all. It's about clarity. Clarity of thought, clarity of action.
So, connecting this to the bigger picture, especially in strategic management, why did this distinction become so critical? You mentioned the rise of intellectual capital.
Well, yeah, firms, especially from the late 20th century onwards, faced this increasing urgent need to synchronize things. They needed to align the creation and deployment of both technological innovations and their organizational designs.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Think about it. A company might develop a brilliant new product that's a technological design. But if its internal structures, its processes, its sales channels, the organizational design aren't set up to actually manufacture, market, and support it effectively,
Then the innovation just fizzles out.
exactly, it falters. So this synchronization requires a much clearer understanding of the different types of knowledge involved. Because, as Garud argues, these different types have different properties. They're acquired differently, they need to be managed differently, transferred differently.
So you can't manage R&D knowledge the same way you manage manufacturing floor knowledge.
Precisely. We really entered what some call the era of intellectual capitalism, where knowledge in all its forms is understood as the key strategic asset, absolutely crucial for competitive advantage.
Think about tech giants today.
Exactly. Companies like Microsoft, Google, even newer startups, their value isn't primarily in physical factories anymore. It's in the cumulative knowledge embedded in their people, their code, their processes, their patents.
The intangible assets.
Right. Firms thrive not just by making new gadgets, but by making their often tacit, hidden know-how explicit, by capturing the underlying scientific principles, the know-why, and by deeply understanding what customers actually need, the know-what.
And they need to capture and leverage all of it.
Yes, to sustain any kind of advantage in a dynamic market. And this brings up a really important question for today, doesn't it?
Which is?
In a world drowning in information, where data is cheap, where AI can summarize anything in seconds, how do we ensure the knowledge we possess isn't just acquired superficially, like from a quick search, but is deeply understood, critically evaluated, and then effectively applied to create real value?
That's the challenge, moving beyond just knowing of something to truly knowing it.
Exactly. And that fundamental question really underscores why Garud's three distinctions are so necessary. They push us beyond that superficial acquaintance towards a more profound, actionable understanding. It's about building real capabilities, real foresight, not just hoarding facts.
Okay, so let's dive into those core distinctions then. The paper breaks knowledge down into these three distinct, yet, as you said, interconnected facets.
Yeah.
Know how, know why, and know what.
The big three.
Maybe an analogy would help here. Imagine you're leading a team, maybe developing a cutting-edge new electric vehicle.
Okay, I like it. Complex project.
You absolutely need the know-how, right? How to engineer the battery pack, assemble a chassis, program the navigation system. That's the practical operational mastery.
Got it. The hands-on stuff.
Then you need to know why. Why do certain battery chemistries give more range? Why does a particular aerodynamic shape reduce drag so much?
Yeah.
Why are specific algorithms better for energy efficiency?
Ah, the underlying principles, the science behind it.
Exactly, the foundational understanding. And finally, you need to know what. What features do users actually want in this EV? What range is acceptable? What charging infrastructure matters to them? What kind of digital experience are they looking for? What safety features are non-negotiable?
The market side, the user perspective, the context.
Precisely. The configurational appreciation. Each one is vital, clearly distinct, but they all have to work together in harmony for that EV to actually succeed.
Makes sense. You need all three legs of the stool.
So let's start with the one that's probably most familiar. The one we mentioned is widely seen as intellectual capital, know-how. This is the practical ability, the execution, the operational mastery.
Right, the doing part.
So how does Garud actually define this? And how do we typically get it?
He defines know-how as an understanding of the generative processes that constitute phenomena.
Now, unpack that a little.
In simpler terms, it's knowing how to perform a task, how to execute a process, how a system operates functionally. It's the mechanics, the operational sequences, the step-by-step.
Like the surgeon, the chef, the coder you mentioned earlier.
Exactly. They don't just know about it, they know how to do it. Skillfully, precisely.
And how do we acquire this know-how? It's not just reading books, right?
Definitely not. It's primarily through what Garud, building on earlier work by people like Arrow, Dutton, and Thomas, Argot, and Eppel, calls learning by doing.
Learning by doing. Makes sense.
It's hands-on experience, direct practice, repetition, getting your hands dirty, basically. Failing, trying again, refining.
Like the factory worker learning the machine, not from the manual alone.
Exactly. They learn by using it, adjusting it, watching others. That continuous engagement leads to those incremental improvements, that optimization over time.
Okay, that feels intuitive. It's knowledge that gets ingrained. So what are the key characteristics? You mentioned it being path-dependent and often tacit. What does that mean?
Right. So path-dependent means that the know-how you develop is really shaped by the specific path you took to learn it. The sequence of experiences matters.
Like the order you learn things, the specific tools you used first.
Exactly. Think of a company, maybe decades ago, they started with a specific type of machinery. They built really efficient processes around that machine.
Okay.
Even if a revolutionary new technology comes along, their existing know-how, their routines, their collective muscle memory around the old way makes it incredibly hard, maybe expensive to switch. They're kind of locked into that path.
Which can be good for stability, but bad for change.
Precisely. And know-how often resides in what Nelson and Winter called storage bins, not just in individual brains, but deeply embedded in organizational routines, even in the manufacturing processes themselves.
So it's not just what people know, but how the organization works.
Yes. And because it's so deeply ingrained and embedded, as Bergelman put it, it's often tacit.
Tacit meaning hard to explain.
Exactly. Hard to articulate fully, hard to write down in a manual, hard to codify. Therefore, it's incredibly challenging to change easily or to transfer directly to someone else.
Like you can't just write instructions for a master artisan's touch.
Right. It has to be learned through apprenticeship, through that repeated practice. And economically, this type of learning by doing leads to some clear outcomes.
Like getting better over time.
Yeah, things like cumulative output, a reduction in unit costs over time, and what economists call a progress ratio, or the learning curve effect. The more you do something, the better and more efficient you get. Each unit costs less to make because of that built-up experience.
Which is a powerful competitive advantage in itself.
Absolutely. Continuous improvement, significant cost reduction. Very valuable.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. Think about a master artisan. A traditional Japanese swordsmith or maybe a Swiss watchmaker, their skill, it feels like more than just following steps.
Mm-hmm. There's an intuition there.
Yeah, an ingrained, almost intuitive understanding of the material, the tools, the process, honed over decades, the subtle feel of the metal, the precise tension of a tiny spring.
Things you can't easily measure or describe.
Exactly. So what makes that kind of deep know-how so incredibly valuable, yet at the same time so difficult to replicate, or even just transfer within the same company or industry? It seems paradoxical.
That paradox is precisely what makes embedded know-how so strategically important. The stickiness you mentioned, that's one of its defining features for organizations.
Stickiness, meaning it doesn't move easily.
Right, because it's so deeply embedded in routines and practices, and the very way we do things around here, it creates this powerful inertia.
Resists change.
Exactly. Highly resistant to rapid change, which, as we said, can be a huge strength, creating consistency, reliability, efficiency, building a solid foundation.
But also a vulnerability.
A significant one. It becomes a massive hurdle when organizations need to adapt, innovate, or re-engineer their core operations when the environment changes suddenly.
Okay, so examples.
Well, Devadas and Argot found that this embedded know-how often ties employees to the specific company context. Their unique skills might not be as valuable elsewhere, so they're less likely to leave.
Okay, reduces turnover. That's a benefit.
It can be. But the stability also connects directly to the huge challenges companies face in, say, business process re-engineering efforts. Leonard Barton talked about this.
Core rigidities.
Exactly. Those deeply ingrained ways of doing things, they are the know-how, can make it incredibly difficult to implement new processes, even if those new ways are strategically much better.
Like trying to get a company used to waterfall development to suddenly switch to agile.
Perfect example. Their know-how of the old system, their established routines, actively resists the new approach. It's like organizational muscle memory fighting against learning a new movement.
So that stability can become a major limitation when agility is key.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating tension. The very thing that makes you efficient can make you brittle.
Right. So know-how. Essential for execution, but potentially rigid. Now let's shift gears. Let's talk about know-why.
Okay. The second leg of the stool.
If know-how is about the doing, the practical application, then know-why feels like the deeper understanding behind the how, the brain behind the brawn, the principles behind the practice.
That's a good way to put it. It's the foundational layer.
So how does Garud define know-why, and how do we acquire this type of knowledge? It sounds different from just doing.
Very different. Garud defines know-why as an understanding of the principles underlying phenomena.
The principle.
Yeah, it's about why things work the way they do. The scientific basis, the engineering principles, the fundamental laws governing a system, the deep theoretical understanding, causal relationships, predictive models.
So knowing why a chemical reaction happens, not just how to mix the chemicals.
Exactly, or why a bridge design holds weight, not just how to bolt it together. Why an algorithm is efficient, not just how to code it. It's grasping those fundamental truths that let you reason about things, predict outcomes.
And acquiring it, not learning by doing them.
No, it's primarily acquired through learning by studying. That's what Dutton and Thomas called it.
Learning by studying. So formal education, research.
Yes, formal education, rigorous scientific research, theoretical inquiry. Often, systematic experimentation aimed specifically at uncovering generalizable principles. It's the realm of scientific discovery, academic work, fundamental R&D.
You're not just learning how to build the airplane wing, but why certain shapes generate lift because you studied fluid dynamics.
Precisely that, a much deeper level of understanding.
The characteristics and impact here seem quite distinct too. It feels like know-why leads to more than just incremental improvements, unlike know-how sometimes.
It often does. It can lead to breakthroughs.
So let's use the cake analogy again. Know-how is knowing the recipe, following it perfectly. Know-why is understanding the chemistry, why baking soda needs an acid, why gluten development matters, how heat transfer works in the oven.
Good analogy. You understand the system.
So my question is, why can these know-why insights, these new principles, lead to such a profound multiplication effect in innovation? Why does it unlock whole new possibilities, not just slightly better cakes?
That's a critical point. It's because know-why provides a deeper, more generalized understanding.
Generalized, meaning applicable elsewhere.
Exactly. When you grasp the underlying principles, you're not just solving one specific problem, you're gaining insight into an entire class of problems.
Ah, okay.
This lets you extrapolate. You can apply that understanding to totally new contexts, combine it with other principles you know, and create entirely novel solutions, things nobody thought of before.
Like discovering electromagnetism didn't just improve candles, it opened up radio, computers.
Precisely. That's the multiplication effect. One fundamental insight spawns countless applications. It's absolutely fundamental for understanding complex technological systems, their components, and for making truly radical innovations.
And this knowledge, the know-why, it gets shared more openly sometimes. Through journals and stuff.
Often, yes. It's frequently disseminated through scientific journals, conferences, academic publications. It's proactively sought after by researchers looking to advance understanding, as Nelson observed back in the 50s. It's crucial for R&D labs, for pushing scientific boundaries, developing entirely new fields.
But wait, if it's published openly, how does it give a company a competitive advantage? Doesn't everyone get access to the why?
That's where it gets nuanced and quite fascinating. While the foundational know-why, the basic principles, might be published and widely accessible.
Okay.
The private nature of how a specific firm applies or integrates that know-why can still be fiercely protected.
I see. So the principle might be public, but the application is secret.
Or patented, or a trade secret, yes. Think of a pharmaceutical company. They might publish papers on the principles behind a new drug class, the basic science. But they will absolutely protect the specific compound they developed using those principles, or the unique process they invented to manufacture it efficiently.
Right. Levin, Cleverick, Nelson, and Winter found that, you said. Firms protect that applied knowledge.
Exactly. They might not hide the fundamental physics, but they'll guard how they uniquely combine or apply it to solve a specific problem better than anyone else. That gives them the edge.
And you see this in big science collaborations, too.
Absolutely. Projects like the Large Hadron Collider at CERN or other examples of collaborative innovation in big science. Understanding the fundamental principles, the know why, is the essential common ground that allows diverse teams from different institutions worldwide to collaborate on incredibly complex problems. The underlying physics is shared, but specific detector designs or data analysis techniques developed by one group might still offer them a unique advantage or insight.
So the why might be shared, but the specific how derived from it can still be proprietary. Very interesting distinction.
It's crucial for understanding competitive strategy in knowledge-based industries.
Okay, that distinction is really insightful. Even if the why is out there, your unique how, based on it, can still be your secret weapon.
Okay, finally we arrive at the third type. Know what?
The third leg.
This feels like the most outwardly focused type, deeply connected to context, market dynamics, user interaction.
Very much so. It's about the external environment. So how does Garud define know what? And how do we acquire this kind of knowledge? It doesn't sound like studying or just doing.
Correct. Garud defines know what as an appreciation of the specific system configurations that different customer groups may want and the different uses they may put these systems to.
Okay, system configurations, customer groups, uses.
In essence, it's market knowledge, customer preferences, desired product features, the evolving landscape of user needs and wants. It's understanding the context where your product or service lives, who is using it, and what do they actually value.
Like understanding the trends in sustainable fashion or the specific ergonomic needs for a new medical device users are asking for.
Exactly. Or the user interface preferences for a mobile app, what makes it intuitive for them.
And how do we get this? It sounds like you need to be out there talking to people.
You do. It's acquired not primarily through doing or studying, but through learning by observing or learning by using. That's drawing on work by people like Rosenberg, von Hippel, and Carnot.
Learning by observing.
Yeah.
Learning by using.
Yeah. This knowledge is generated through continuous interaction between the producers and the users. Through robust feedback loops, market research, customer interviews, watching how people actually use or misuse or don't use products in the real world.
It's a two-way street, constant information flow.
Definitely. Companies might do user testing, analyze support tickets, monitor social media chatter, maybe even embed designers with customer teams to really grasp this what. It requires active listening, keen observation.
The characteristics of know what seem quite different again. Maybe the most striking thing is how dynamic it is. You mentioned ephemeral. The paper calls it day-old knowledge.
Yeah, that's a key aspect because environments and customer preferences can change so continuously, so quickly.
So back to the robot analogy. Know how is building it. Know why is understanding the circuits in AI. Know what is knowing. Do people want it to vacuum, deliver packages, play chess, and how do they want to interact? Voice, touchscreen, gestures.
Perfect. That's exactly it.
So why does this type of knowledge change so rapidly compared to know how or know why? It really seemed to have a much shorter shelf life.
It does, and it changes quickly precisely because it's tied to all those external dynamic factors. Evolving customer tastes, new market trends popping up, what competitors are doing, broader shifts in society or values, the very environments where products get used.
All constantly moving targets.
Exactly. These forces are always in flux. One day big screens are in, the next it's all about sleek, portable design. Think about social media platforms, how quickly features and user expectations change. Or fashion trends, what was hot last season is irrelevant now.
So you can't just figure out know what once and be done with it.
Absolutely not. This constant evolution means know what requires continuous monitoring, constant adaptation, a proactive approach to anticipating future needs, not just reacting to current complaints.
And practically, what does this fluidity mean for companies? How do they cope?
Well, this fluidity heavily informs things like the modularization of technological systems. Baldwin and Clark highlighted this.
Modularization, like building blocks.
Kind of. By knowing what specific customer groups value, firms can design products with interchangeable components or modules. This gives them much greater flexibility. They can make rapid changes in design, offer different feature combinations without having to redesign the whole system from scratch every time.
Like different smartphone accessories or choosing features on a software platform.
Exactly. That modularity is vital for concepts like mass customization, where you try to tailor products or services to individual customer needs, but on a large scale, quickly and efficiently.
That raises a big question, though, doesn't it?
Well,
How do firms effectively manage this? Capturing and actually using this constantly shifting know what in such dynamic environments seems incredibly hard.
it is hard. It's not just about collecting mountains of customer data. It's about building highly responsive organizational structures, agile development teams, robust feedback mechanisms that can quickly translate those ephemeral customer insights into actual product or service adjustments.
The organization itself needs to be designed for it.
Yes, it really necessitates a deep, ongoing dialogue, maybe even genuine co-creation between the producers and the users. And sustaining that effectively over time is a real challenge.
Okay, so we have the three types. Know-how, know-why, understanding principles, know what, understanding context needs, understanding them individually is powerful. But you said earlier, and the paper argues, the real magic, the true source of enduring advantage, happens when you understand their relationships and, crucially, how to link them, integrate them.
Yes, it's the synergy between them, like having three powerful engines, but the real power comes when you connect them into a synchronized system.
Let's go back to the cake analogy, but maybe deeper. You know how to bake a cake following a recipe perfectly. Know-how. Great ingredients, best oven. Looks perfect every time.
Okay, consistent execution.
But if you lack the know-why ingredients react, why temperature matters, you might be lost if you need to adapt. Substitute an ingredient, bake at a different altitude, oven acts weird.
You can't troubleshoot effectively. Just trial and error. Suboptimal results.
Right. And critically, without appreciating what kind of cake someone actually wants for their birthday, their dietary needs, the latest flavor trends, your technically perfect cake might just miss the mark.
A masterpiece nobody wanted. Ouch.
Exactly. All three are profoundly essential for true mastery, for achieving the desired outcome in any complex thing you're doing.
That illustrates the interdependence really well.
The paper gives a great real-world example, too, with Steinway pianos.
Ah, yes, the Steinway example. Classic.
They obviously possess immense know-how, that generational skill passed down through master craftspeople on how to manufacture these incredible pianos.
Decades, centuries maybe, of embedded craft knowledge.
But what truly sets them apart, the paper argues, is their deep know-why. An understanding of why specific designs, materials, construction techniques create that superior, resonant, consistent sound. It's deep acoustic science combined with the craft.
The synergy. The integration of the how and the why.
Exactly. And this synergy, this difficult-to-replicate integration, creates what the paper calls causal ambiguity for competitors.
Causal ambiguity. Meaning rivals can't figure out exactly why Steinway is so good.
Pretty much. It's incredibly hard for them to reverse engineer or just copy Steinway's success, even if they get blueprints or analyze the components.
Yeah.
Because the precise interplay, the integration of these distinct knowledge types is obscure. It's hidden.
It's not just one thing they do, it's the whole interwoven fabric of their collective knowledge.
Right, which creates that almost magical outcome. And that, the paper suggests, is the definition of a sustainable competitive advantage. It's not just one knowledge type. It's the unique, intricate way they combine them.
And this reinforces that idea of stickiness, too. Know-how and know-why are hard to transfer across firms, even across departments.
Making their successful integration even more valuable because it's rare, a powerful barrier to imitation.
That's a crucial point. The paper really emphasizes that the vital role of both organizational design and technological design lies precisely in their ability to link these components effectively.
So how the company is structured and how its technology is designed should help connect know-how, know-why, and know-what.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is how Garud advocates moving beyond traditional organizational silos.
Ah, the silos. R&D does its thing. Manufacturing does its thing. Sales does its.
Right. Historically, you might have R&D focused mainly on know-why, manufacturing on know-how, sales and marketing on know-what. But truly managing knowledge as a strategic asset demands deep integration, blurring those lines, creating a cohesive, adaptive knowledge system.
So designing organizations that naturally encourage that cross-pollination.
Precisely. The paper mentions Doherty's rugby metaphor for design.
Rugby. How does that work?
It's contrasting it with a relay race, where one department finishes and just hands off to the next, throws it over the wall.
Okay, the sequential approach.
Instead, the rugby metaphor suggests cross-functional teams. Doherty called them thought worlds, with people from R&D, manufacturing, sales, all working concurrently, collaboratively. in constant communication.
Like a rugby team passing the ball back and forth, everyone moving together down the field.
Exactly. Adapting, supporting each other, not just sticking to fixed positions. This allows for real-time synchronization of knowledge creation and deployment. The why informs the how, the what shapes both. Leads to more responsive, innovative outcomes.
Is there a company example of this kind of integration?
A fantastic one from the source is the National Bicycle Company, NBC, in Japan. They brilliantly linked their deep understanding of customer desire for mass customization.
Right, bikes tailored to individuals.
With their manufacturing know-how. They famously had two distinct factories, one for standard mass production, but another highly agile factory specifically designed to produce custom-made bikes super quickly, often delivered within weeks.
Wow, so they managed both standardization and customization.
Yes, but critically, they didn't just keep them separate. They actively fed insights from their custom bike know-what back into their broader manufacturing processes and even standard product design. They used an advanced CAD/CAM system. It took detailed customer measurements and preferences, the know-what, and directly translated them into machine instructions for welding the frame, selecting components, the know-how.
Turning customer desire directly into manufacturing reality.
Exactly. This dual approach shows how they managed different knowledge bases, but integrated them beautifully to meet evolving customer demands.
The paper also mentions modularizing knowledge, like object-oriented programming.
Yeah, drawing that analogy. In OOP, you have these encapsulated modules that contain both data, knowledge, and the methods, processes to act on that data, and clear interfaces to interact with other modules.
Okay, self-contained units that talk to each other.
Right. Think of designing a car where the engine, brakes, entertainment system are separate units. They work independently but communicate through standard interfaces. You can swap out or upgrade one module without redesigning the whole car.
Applying that to knowledge.
It suggests breaking down complex knowledge into smaller, manageable modules. This allows for greater flexibility, easier recombination of different knowledge elements, and helps organizations adapt faster to changing needs. It helps manage complexity by making knowledge more digestible, more interchangeable.
And this connects to another concept, absorptive capacity.
Absolutely. A crucial idea from Cohen and Leventhal. It's a firm's ability to do three things. Recognize the value of new external information, assimilate it internally, and then apply it effectively for commercial ends.
So being able to actually use new knowledge from outside.
Yes. And this capability is essential for integrating these diverse knowledge components we've been talking about. A firm needs to be able to absorb new know-why from research, new know-what from the market, maybe new know-how from partners or acquisitions.
Without that capacity, even brilliant knowledge stays isolated, unproductive.
Exactly. Which raises another important question for organizations today, doesn't it? How does a company foster a culture where these distinct knowledge types aren't just present somewhere?
But are actively exchanged, debated, integrated into a unified strategy.
It sounds like it needs more than just good intentions.
It really does. Strong leadership that genuinely values cross-functional collaboration, open communication channels, a willingness to break down those traditional departmental walls, and often specific incentives that reward knowledge sharing and integration, not just siloed individual performance.
Building that integrated knowledge ecosystem takes deliberate effort.
A lot of deliberate effort.
Okay, so this deep dive, it's not just about corporate strategy or academic frameworks, is it? It feels profoundly relevant to you listening right now. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, thinking about shifting into a new field you need to get up to speed on, or just driven by curiosity.
Absolutely. It's a very practical framework for personal learning, too.
So maybe take a second for a quick self-assessment. In your own professional life, or even your hobbies, where do you naturally gravitate?
Good question to ask yourself. Are you primarily a know-how person? You know, the skilled practitioner, the one who can consistently get things done, make systems work, maybe a master of a specific craft or technical skill?
The hands-on expert?
Or are you more of a know-why person? The deep thinker, the theoretician, always asking why, wanting to understand the fundamental principles, building mental models?
Or principle seeker?
Or maybe you're more of a know-what person, a keen observer of trends, instinctively understanding user needs, market preferences, how to configure solutions for specific demands, a natural in-call at spotting opportunities or shifts in taste.
The context-aware connector.
There's no right or wrong answer here, obviously. Most of us are probably a blend, but just recognizing your natural inclination can be really insightful for your career, your learning journey.
Knowing your strengths and maybe where you need to develop.
Exactly. And understanding these distinctions also helps you tailor your learning approach, make it much more effective, more efficient.
How so?
Well, if you need a new practical skill for your job learning new software, a manufacturing technique you now know, the best way is probably focusing on doing. Hands-on practice, repetition, applying it. Theory helps, but mastery comes from the practical engagement.
Right. Prioritize the learning by doing.
But if your goal is different, maybe to innovate, understand disruptive shifts in your industry, contribute to research, then your focus needs to be more on studying. Delving into the underlying principles, formal education, theoretical inquiry, deep conceptual work.
Focus on the learning by studying for the why.
And if your main objective is connecting with an audience, launching a product that really clicks, understanding a market opportunity, then your focus needs to be intensely on observing, gathering feedback, engaging directly with users, seeing how they interact, iterating based on their needs.
So learning by observing or learning by using for the what.
Exactly. It gives you a kind of personalized learning roadmap depending on what you need to achieve.
That's really useful. A way to be strategic about your own learning.
And think about information overload again. In this world where we're just awash in data, news, opinions every single day, this framework is invaluable. Know how, know why, know what helps you categorize, filter, prioritize.
Like different bins to sort information into?
Yeah. Not every piece of information needs the same kind of engagement or depth. Some facts are for doing. They directly enable action. Some are for understanding, building that foundational knowledge for insight and innovation. And some are for appreciating context, guiding your strategic decisions, understanding user needs.
Knowing the difference lets you cut through the noise, engage more effectively.
Respect your time, maximize your learning, and avoid that feeling of being completely overwhelmed. So maybe think about it. What stands out to you about how you might apply these distinctions? In your own learning, your professional development, maybe starting today, how could you consciously cultivate each of these three vital forms of knowledge?
It's a powerful lens to apply to your own work and learning goals.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we've really unpacked Raghu Garud's foundational distinctions. Know-how, the operational mastery.
Doing it.
Know why, the foundational understanding.
The principles.
And know what, the configurational appreciation of market and user needs.
The context and desire.
We've explored their individual strengths, how they're acquired, the unique challenges and opportunities each one presents.
And critically, how their strategic integration moving beyond those silos, fostering that deep collaboration, creates truly sustainable competitive advantage, making success much harder for others to just copy.
Building that robust, adaptive knowledge ecosystem.
Right. Which leads to a final thought, connecting this to the bigger picture today.
Okay.
In our world, evolving so rapidly, driven by huge advances in AI, automation, constantly shifting consumer demands, this framework feels more critical than ever. And it raises a fascinating, maybe provocative question for you to chew on.
Let's hear it.
Will one of these three knowledge types, the know-how, the know-why, or the know-what, become decisively more important than the others in the coming decades?
Like, will AI automate most know-how, making know-why or know-what the key differentiator?
Exactly. As AI takes over more routine know-how tasks, does know-why become paramount for designing and guiding those AI systems? Or does know-what become the ultimate human edge, anticipating uniquely human needs and desires in an increasingly automated world?
Or is it something else?
Or, as Garud's paper suggests, and as many leading companies seem to demonstrate, will the true competitive edge for both individuals and organizations lie not in excelling at just one,
But in the integration.
but in the seamless, agile, and continuous ability to acquire, integrate, and synchronize all three, cultivating that dynamic interplay, ensuring your practical skills are informed by deep principles and that both are constantly adapting to what the world truly needs and wants.
Striving for that holistic, integrated approach to knowledge.
Exactly. Making you not just informed, but truly insightful, innovative, and profoundly adaptable in a world that absolutely demands continuous learning and integration.